Hello friends, welcome to Civilspedia. In this edition, we are going to see the current affairs related to 5th May of 2018. So as usual, we have two set of topics. One is a learning topic and prelims topic. In learning topic, we are going to see the Iran nuclear deal, the implications of it in India, worldwide, and all those things. And second thing is about the Judges Inquiry Act, which is related to the impeachment process of judge. And as far as the prelims topic is concerned, we are going to see the topics such as Prime Minister Swasthya Suraksha Yojana, PM Janvikas Karyakram, and the exercises called Vijay Prahar as well as the Gagan Shakti. Okay, so coming to the first concept of Iran nuclear deal. Okay, so first of all, what is the relevance today? So there was a newspaper a couple of days. It was in the editorial also day before yesterday. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has made a strong pitch for the scrapping of Iranian nuclear deal. He has released some set of documents. So this Iran nuclear deal is called, it was the actual document, the agreement is called as a joint comprehensive plan of action. Okay, so this was like not just Israel, even the president of US. So he also wants to he decided not to renew this deal, which is about to expire on this May 12th actually. So we are looking forward for what kind of actions it would be taken actually. Okay, now let us see what exactly this deal is about and what are the implications of it in India if at all the deal is cancelled or the deal as such. Okay, so coming to who are all the signatories. So these are the signatories you got to remember first of all. Okay, so the signatories are first of all called as P5 plus 1. What does this P5 stands for? The permanent members of the UN Security Council. So as you know that the Security Council of United Nations, they have a permanent as well as non-permanent members. So these permanent 5 members from United States, United Kingdom, Russia, China and France, as well as European Union along with Germany. Okay, why Germany? This one stands for Germany as such. Okay, even though European Union has other countries like Germany, like France also, but it supports that. It was a signatory. Okay, but generally it is called as P5 plus 1. This one stands for, I said, Germany. Okay, why Germany is so interested in this deal? Okay, because most of the investments made with respect to civilian nuclear purposes in Iran, so most major investment as well as the technology, it is done by the Germanians. Okay, so that is the reason why Germany is more interested. And you already know that Germany has a strong economy. It is one of the strong economy of European Union. Okay, so that is the reason why. Okay, so what is the impact? What exactly this deal is all about and what Iran gets for it? Okay, so first of all, this is the impact actually. Okay, these are the 4 things which Iran has to do, and this is the one which Iran gets in exchange. Okay, so as you all know that Iran is one of the country which is a majority Shia, and since the 1979 revolution, Iranian revolution, and it has become from monarchical to kind of a republic. Okay, now what is the impact actually? So that is the irony that like Iran, till this Iran deal is made, this Iran nuclear deal is made, till that time it had been imposed sanctions by the European Union as well as the United Nations Security Council as well as majorly US. So what is the sanction meaning? Okay, mostly economic sanction. So meaning what? This Iran companies or the government itself, they cannot trade. There is a bar or a prohibition or kind of an embargo on this. Okay, so this made the economy of Iran very poor. Okay, so now that is the reason why it is not just a loss for Iran, it is a loss for the entire world also, because oil is such an important a necessity, right? It's an energy security, right? So more as being an important producer of oil, if the oil supply is cut off, so even the world is affected by this. So that is the reason why even the P5 countries plus Germany, everyone is interested to strike a deal. Okay, so what is the deal about? Okay, first of all, so these are the 4 things. Okay, Iran is known for making nuclear like weapons actually. Okay, so what these countries like P5 plus 1 said, like, so we will take away the sanctions you have, but in exchange these are the things you got to do. Okay, starting from 1, this is first about uranium stockpile, second is about uranium enrichment, third is about centrifuge reduction, fourth is about inspection. We'll see one by one what exactly it is. Now coming to the reduction of uranium stockpile. Okay, so now when this agreement was signed, uranium, that is, Iran had a uranium of almost 10,000 kilograms. Okay, as per the Iran nuclear deal, it has to reduce that stockpile of uranium to 300 kilograms for next 15 years. Okay, so that is the first agreement. Okay, and next is about the enrichment process. Okay, so one thing you got to know, that natural uranium which exists is 3.6% of that is called as a low enriched uranium. This is the one which is used for civil nuclear purposes, that is for making energy or making for power. Okay, but if that this uranium is enriched to 97% or more than 90%, that will be called as a weapon grade uranium. That is the uranium which is used for weapon purposes. Okay, but if it is enriched to 20%, it can be used for medicinal or other research purposes. Okay, so as per the deal, the Iran should not enrich the natural uranium to 90%. So that is the another second point. Third is about the centrifuge reduction. So what is this centrifuge? So centrifuge is an instrument, it is an advanced technology which is used for enriching uranium. Okay, so already Iran had already almost 20,000. Okay, so if it counts 20 into 1,000, almost 20,000 centrifuges. That is the instrument. So centrifuge is what? It is an instrument which keeps on rotating. As a concept of, you must have learned about the centrifugal force, right? Okay, so this uranium it is converted into a gas, and then this process, the process of centrifuges, you will be able to take out uranium 238 material, and again the rest of the material for fissile purposes normally. Okay, so this centrifuges number should be reduced from 20,000 to 5 plus 1,000 for research purposes. So this is another condition. Now last condition is about the inspection. Okay, so Iran should allow the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. So Iran should allow the IAEA authorities to inspect all those, even the civilian as well as the military thing, even if it exists. So as to inspect those materials, so as to find that it does not have a, so as to make sure that the Iran does not have a nuclear enrichment facilities, it does not enrich uranium for the non-civilian purposes. So these are the things, conditions laid down by the deal, and if these conditions are followed, then we will do away with the sanctions you have. So that is the reason why the deal was struck down. The deal was made, and now the sanctions were taken away. Okay. Now, as I already know that, as I already said that this is a very important deal, not just for India as well as for the world actually. So we are not yet sure about the position, because USA, even though it wanted the major allies such as that France and France and Germany, they don't want this deal to be scrapped. Okay, but on the other hand, Saudi Arabia, being a major Sunni Islam country, being a major kind of an enemy to Iran, it wants this to be scrapped. And Israel, again, naturally it wants this deal to be scrapped. Okay, so now India is kind of in a dilemma position whether to support this or that. Okay, so people are saying that if at all India supports Iran nuclear deal, okay, then it might get a bad name from Israel. But we already know India has a policy called dehyphenated diplomacy. So what is the dehyphenated diplomacy? Okay, so I don't mind about what is the relation between you and you. So it doesn't mean that my enemy's enemy is my enemy, or my friend's enemy is my enemy, or my enemy's enemy is my friend. So I'm not concerned about these conditions. I am concerned about my relation with the particular country. I'll be friendly with Israel if Israel helps me. I'll be friendly with Iran if Iran helps me. Okay, so that is the position overall with respect to diplomacy of India. But what are the major impacts it can have? Why India is dependent on Iran? Firstly, because of the import of oil. Okay, we are the third largest consumer as well, and Iran is the third largest supplier of oil to us. Okay, and one more thing is about the investment in real rupee arrangement. So before the sanctions as well as during the sanctions, what happened? The US dollars has been curbed by the European Union as well as the US. Okay, the trade transaction was not happening because of the embargo on US dollars. There was a shortage. So India and Iran entered into an arrangement called as a real rupee arrangement, meaning what? The trade was done through rupee as well as real. Now we are making investments in Iran through rupees, and Iran companies also welcome to India. For instance, Iran is majorly investing in a bank in India also. Okay, and with respect to the infrastructure, So we already know about the Chabar port, why it is so important to us also. Okay, so these are the economic important things with respect to nuclear deal, because again a sanction might impact these things and all. Now, coming to the strategic part, okay, we already know that India and Iran has a strategic partnership with respect to energy. I already said that. And second thing is about the transport, and third is about the security. Security is about, I am speaking about the maritime security. Okay, security is about the maritime security in Indian Ocean with respect to piracy, all these things. Okay, with respect to transport, you already know about the international north-south corridor, which is connecting from the Persian Gulf to the Central Asian countries, going through Caspian Sea as well as the northern as well as the Western European. Okay, European nations. So in these reasons, it is very necessary to have a cordial relationship with Iran. Okay, so through Chabar port, we are trying to connect Afghanistan also. That is kind of a geopolitical aspect also, because we got to counter the dominance of China. Right, China is having a dominant position almost through the South Central Asian countries as well as the African countries. So it's geopolitically important for India to have a dominance over that. So geopolitically also, this one is important, and scrapping of deal might impact this thing. So these are the impacts which India has to keep in mind, and it has to keep whether to support or not to support these things. Okay. So we'll see for the further weeks how the things turn out based on the Trump's decision actually. Okay, now coming to the concept of Judges Inquiry Act. Okay, so why this was in relevance? Because Judges Inquiry Act, recently it was in news because of the impeachment process that was initiated by the Congress, that is opposition members in the Rajya Sabha actually. Okay, so as far as the impeachment is concerned, even though there is not a word called impeachment in the Constitution of India, here it says about with respect to Article 124 Clause 4. Okay, so this is the one which speaks about how a president should be removed. Okay, so first of all, these are the conditions. The first condition is that a president can be removed only on the order of the president, and before that it has to be passed by a resolution which has to be supported by a majority of total membership of the House, as well as the majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the House present and voting. Okay, not just in one house, in both the houses. And one more thing you got to keep in mind in the same session. Okay, so even before that, some of the impeachment process or the removal process which was initiated, it failed because it was unable, even though it was passed in one house, it was not able to pass in the another house in the same session. Okay, so that session is also very, very important. And what are the conditions? Condition is proved misbehavior and incapacity, which has to be proved normally. Okay, so as I said, this is the Constitution. This is what Constitution says. Now, what is the procedure? Procedure is that the regulation of the procedure has to be done by the Parliament through a law. So that is what 124 clause 5 of Constitution says. Okay, so based on the power given by 124 clause 5, now the Parliament has made a law, Judges Inquiry Act in 1968. Okay, that is called as, this act is called as, this statute is called as a procedural statute. What is the procedural statute? What you got to know? Okay, this procedural strategy means, I'll give you an example. For instance, you know about IPC. Okay, so what is the maximum punishment given for a murder with rape? Okay, the capital punishment can be given, right? Okay, but what is the procedure? Who can arrest? I already said about in a few classes about the cognizable as well as the non-cognizable offenses, right? Okay, so what is the procedure? Who can arrest? How can he be arrested? What about the big concept of bail? These are the things which has been not laid down in IPC. These are laid down in criminal procedure code. Okay, so what is the difference between IPC? IPC says about if at all someone has done an offense, how much is the punishment. But CRPC speaks about the procedure laid down. So this is, CRPC is called as a procedural law. IPC is called as a substantial law. So even in Judges Inquiry Act, so if at all a person has done a misbehavior, if he has done in corruption, he'll be punished under the Corruption Act and he might be given 3 or 4 years imprisonment. So the Corruption Act is, Prevention of Corruption Act is a substantial law. This Judges Inquiry Act is a procedural law. I hope you got it right now. Okay, so it says about the procedure. The regulation of the procedure has been laid down in the Judges Inquiry Act. Now, coming to the procedure, okay, these are the procedures which was not given in Constitution but under the Judges Inquiry Act. As you know already, you must have studied by this time, like at least 100 members of Lok Sabha or 50 members of Rajya Sabha, they have to sign and give a notice to the chairman or the speaker, and the speaker on consultation, if at all he thinks, he may or may not admit. So he may admit or he may not also admit. He may refuse to admit also. So it is up to the discretion of the speaker or chairman. In this case of the impeachment of Justice Deepak Mishra, so it was 50 members of Rajya Sabha. They gave a proposal, notice to the Rajya Sabha chairman, that is Mr. Venkaiah Naidu. but he refused to admit on the grounds of lack of prima facie evidence or record on this. Okay, so on the basis of this, what will, if at all, if the motion has been admitted, that there is this process will appear, that is a committee will be formed, and that committee will comprise of these Supreme Court judges and all those people, and then that based on the investigation made, they'll frame charges, and based on the charges, chance will be given to the concerned justice, and after that, again a motion will be put. After that, voting will happen in first one of the houses in which it is initiated, then the second house. Finally, this will be given to the president, and the president, if at all necessary, he will assign, give a signature so as to remove this judge. So this is the Judges Inquiry Act of 1968, which you got to know. Next, coming to the prelims topic of the day, first is about the Prime Minister's Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. Okay, so recently this was the news. The relevance is that recently Prime Minister he extended this scheme in the 12th 5-year plan also by an allocation of 14,000 crores. These numbers you know not necessary for the prelims, but what are the things you got to know? This is about the correcting the imbalances of tertiary healthcare facilities, which you got to keep in mind. Tertiary means what? Not at the primary level, at the level of like making a surgery or kind of a tertiary healthcare, not just primary, that is tertiary at the district level or the major district hospitals. Okay, and another thing is you got to know about the augmenting, increasing the facilities for medical education in the underserved states. Okay, these are the two key points which you got to keep in mind. Okay, and next is about the components. What are the components? So first is setting up of the AIIMS-like institutions, and second is about upgradation. Okay, for instance, already AIIMS-like institutions, they have planned almost some 43 AIIMS-like institutions all over India. So they'll be setting up fresh institutions, or else if at all the state government has a state medical college, so they can get fund for upgradation. So this is what basically the scheme about. Okay, Swasthya in the sense, it's all about health, right? Okay, health protection scheme. Swasthya means health, Suraksha means protection, Yojana means scheme. Okay, so this is a central sector scheme. So since this is a central sector scheme, it is mostly funded by the central government. Okay, it is fully funded with respect to new AIIMS and with respect to AIIMS maintenance and operations. But if it is about the upgradation, again, the state has to share some money. So these are the major things. Next is about the impact. What is the impact? So it will transform health education as well as training, one thing. Second is it addresses the shortfall of healthcare professionals. Okay, so when they bring new equipments, new buildings and new AIIMS-like institutions, definitely this will increase. And as well as the infrastructure through the super specialty blocks and trauma centers also. Lastly, about the employment generation. Employment generation is not just direct with respect to doctors and physiotherapists and nurses and all, but indirectly through canteen, through other things and all. Okay, so these are the major impact of this scheme. Next, coming to the Prime Minister's Jan Vikas Karyakram. So what is this one again? This is a scheme which was started and initiated in 2003. This was a news again because they have restructured in 2013 and they have again expanded this thing. So the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the continuation for the rest of the 14th Finance Commission period also. So what exactly this scheme? This is one of the core schemes. As you already know, when Niti Aayog was formed, it created a subgroup of chief ministers for rationalization of centrally sponsored schemes. So we already had some 67 centrally sponsored schemes, so more than 100 also. So they have made a classification which is very important, which is core of the core schemes and some centrally sponsored supported schemes. Okay, now this is one of the 8 core of the core schemes as per the subgroup. Now what is it? It was launched in 889 and initially it was concentrated on the minority concentrated districts. Later on, now it has transformed, it is implemented in the minority concentrated blocks, minority concentrated towns, as well as the cluster of villages. So previously it was based on the census 2001. Now it is based on 2011. Previously it was based on minority concentration districts, but now it has become even more inclusive by including blocks, block level, town level, as well as village level. Okay, these are things you got to know. Next is about what is the impact again. So first is about the providing better socio-economic infrastructure facilities with respect to education, health and skill development. And second is about the lessening of the gap which is already existing between the national average as well as the other minority communities with respect to backwardness. Third is about the inclusiveness, greater inclusiveness for that. Okay, so it will make sure that if it is implemented, it will result in greater inclusiveness. Okay, now what are the special focus on marking funds means? Earmarking funds means, okay, with respect to education, health and skill development, 80% will be 80% of the fund will be for this purposes, and 32 to 33 to 44% will be specifically for women-centric projects. Okay, these are the projects where how the money will be spent. Okay, now coming to the last topic about Vijay Prahar exercise as well as the Gagan Shakti exercise. With respect to Vijay Prahar, what is Vijay Prahar? Again, I mean, first we say about Gagan Shakti, which was completed on April 24th. Okay, this is an exercise conducted majorly by Indian Air Force based on the command as well as the support of Army as well as Navy. Okay, so what are the key points? Okay, even though AWACS and major unmanned aerial vehicles like Tejas, those involved, but what are the things you got to know with respect to this Gagan Shakti is that it was majorly a network-centric operations and effect-based operation kind of a thing. So what are these things in the sense like it is kind of an all-inclusive operation, like it anticipates all kind of combats as well as non-combat what do you say activities based on which these operations are held. Okay, it was initially held on the western sector near to Pakistan border, and it was held on the Chinese border also. One of the major things you got to know in the sense like there is a protocol that even before undertaking these operations, you got to make sure that you got to let to know the Pakistan and China about the operations you're doing. Okay, so network centric operations mean here what it is inclusion of more technology about the unmanned aerial vehicles and all those things where technology is used, especially internet technology. Okay, and it not just includes wartime drills, it also includes humanitarian assistance as well as the disaster relief drills also. And coming to the Vijay Prahar, which was happened in Rajasthan actually. So again, this is completely done by the Western Command of the Indian Army. Okay, again, it's not much. You can include more about this is about the prelims from the mains perspective, not much about the mains. But what are things you got to remember in the sense like you go and see the current related artilleries which was involved in that. Okay, that is the only thing you got to know. Nothing much about this one. Like okay, so next is about. I mean, sorry, that's it for the day. Okay, so if you have any clarification, please put it on your comments. Okay, and thank you. Have a nice day.